So here I am inside of my AWS account. And if I go over to the menu on the left-hand side, I can scroll down to Agents inside of the Amazon Bedrock console page. Here we have our Agents page, and let's just get on with it. Let's click the Create Agent button. I'm going to give this agent a name. Let's call it the Innovate Agent. And then we can add a description. That's just for us, so that in 3 months' time when we come back, we know what it is that we were doing. Now we get to configure the agent, that central blob in that architecture. I'm going to select the model that I want to connect it to. I'm going to select Claude 3 Haiku because that's a very capable and fast model from Anthropic. Then I'm going to give it some instructions. And these instructions are important because Haiku is going to read these instructions to understand what this agent does. Now let's click Save. And in order to test this, we have to prepare it first. So let's click Prepare and let's ask it a question. Now remember, at this point, we've not given it any access to tools yet. So any question we ask is just going to be asked of the Haiku model. So we ask, who is the Prime Minister, or what is the name of the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom? And the answer comes back, Rishi Sunak. Now, when Haiku was trained, that was the right answer, but it's not the right answer anymore. So let's give this agent access to some real-time information. I'm going to scroll down here to Action Groups. And inside of Action Groups, I'm going to give it an action, which is a tool. So let's create the action group. First of all, we'll give it a name, and then we'll give it a description that, again, the large language model will read this description to know what this action group does. Then we can connect it to some code. So I could click on Quick Create a New Lambda Function, and that will do all the heavy lifting of creating a Lambda function for us with all the permissions that we need. But I'm going to select an existing Lambda function here because I've already got one available. Now this Lambda function connects us into some external data. Let's take a look at it here. It's actually just a normal Lambda function with a Lambda handler. It takes a search term, and this is going to use the DuckDuckGo search engine to just pull back some search results for that search term. It pulls back a maximum of 5 results, and this is all pretty much just boilerplate code for using the DuckDuckGo library. So back to our agent. If I scroll down a little more here, I need to tell the agent about this specific action. So I'm going to call it the search internet action, give it a description that, again, Haiku will read this to know what to do with it. And I need to add a parameter. So let's just give myself a little bit more space and tell it about the parameters we need to send, in which case it's only just one. It's the search term, and we're going to give it a description. And that description, again, is something that the model will read inside of its internal prompt to know what this parameter does. And I will just tell it that this is required. So you can only search if you have a search term. Let's click Create. Okay, now we save, and we can prepare the model again, or the agent again. And now we can ask it that question one more time. So, what is the name of the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom? When we run it, we get a response back. And this time, it comes back with the name Keir Starmer. So what's just happened there is the agent's reached out to the internet, done a search, and brought some information back. If I click on Show Trace, we can actually see what happened behind the scenes. All of those green lines that we saw before, we can see the chat that it's had with itself. We can see that it's brought information back from Wikipedia, it looks like. And then if we scroll to the bottom, we get to see the final result. So all of the information about what happened behind the scenes with this agent is all here available to you through the API. So there we have it. We've just created, in just a few clicks, an agent that connects into the outside world through a Lambda function. Anything you can write in code, any data source that you can connect to in code, you can connect to an agent in this way.